Good morning, fellow traders. Happy Friday. It's Friday morning, August the 8th. Time to do our daily trade plan for today. You know, these videos are something that on a day that I don't do this morning trade plan video, I just don't feel right. It's worth it for me to take the time to do this work every morning and then to actually share it. And it gives me some accountability and credibility, and it makes me talk through my day. And I find a lot of value in that for myself. So maybe I'm just totally selfish in doing these videos, but that's what works for me. But what do we expect today? There's no news. Next week, we have a very, very heavy news week. On Tuesday, we have CPI numbers again. On Wednesday or Thursday, we have PPI numbers again. Those are two big movers or two big numbers typically in the market. On Friday, we have core retail sales and also preliminary consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. That's all on Friday of next week. So next week's going to be pretty heavy. For that reason, I kind of expect today may be a little bit, a small little move in the morning, and then we might go sideways the rest of the day. Here's the other thing that leads me to that thinking. This entire week on Monday in the New York session, we had a big move to the upside. Tuesday in the New York session, we had a big move to the downside. Wednesday in the New York session had a big move to the upside. Yesterday, big move to the downside. And it looks like this week has been, well, it doesn't look like it. This week has been either a strong move one direction or the other on the NASDAQ in the morning. And then that was pretty much the move for the day. So today, what are we looking at? I'm looking for that. What is that morning move? What is that morning direction? That's probably what we're going to see, and then likely go sideways the rest of the day. We are in the top half of yesterday's range. I'm not crazy for that, but yesterday's high of days sitting right here at the 25,761s. The low of days sitting here around the 23,329s. So I did add a level here this morning right here. Now I've had this on my charts before. I've taken it off from time to time, but this is that gap fill from the 27th of July, the pre-market gap. And then we held that area right here. We held that support quite strongly. And then right here, you can see this was the rejection when we started to get downside on the 31st. So I'm just seeing that, thinking I need to put that on my charts because we might see something pulling back to that level today. Here we have a little bit of a break and retest right to that point. That was in the overnight session on Wednesday night. So nothing really in the New York session as of late. Yesterday, there was not really a reaction at that spot. I looked at the 5-minute chart. We had a little bit of a consolidation there, like a couple of candles, but we pushed right on through it in the afternoon. But anyway, I looked at that this morning and I thought, man, I've got to put that on the charts. We could see a pullback and maybe a push higher. So that could be the case. Again, here's the other one. This would be the kind of a prominent high that we've had recently. You know, we pushed up into here on Tuesday, and then we fell down below it, and then we pushed through this on Wednesday, and yesterday we came right back down to that level. That would have been a nice long had one taken that. But in any case, so we might see, those are two kind of pullback areas I'm looking at possibly getting for a move higher. Obviously, if this market rips from the morning session right away, we'll look for break and retests with the trend on a move to the upside to test the highs. If we fall below yesterday's low of day, obviously we're going to be looking for shorts to the downside. And one of the things that just looking at my trades from the last couple of days, I've had 2 red days in a row, and 4 of the 5 trades were losing trades where I was looking for a hold of a level after a big move, and I was trying to catch a falling knife in a sense, not really, you know, like just YOLOing it, trying to pick the bottom, but I was trying to get a hold of a level. And I think the thing I need to keep in mind with these strong moves that we've had is we need to look for break and retest trades with the trend. Now, if you get a soft pullback or kind of a slow pullback, and then you get a hold and you get some consistency here, then take the long. I think that's one thing I'm definitely going to be looking for. But if we get a strong move to the downside, looking for breaks and retests, maybe to the downside even rather than just looking for the hold. So just trying to be a little bit more diligent about that today, depending on what this move is. And one thing that has me a little bit cautious is last night in the overnight session, we could not break this 25 or 23,581 area. If you notice that we stayed right there. We could not break that. That's also kind of the overnight low we had from yesterday. So not the overnight low, but kind of the pre-market low area. So the fact that we are now turning that support into resistance leads me to believe that maybe we'll see a red day. Maybe we'll see another red, a downside move this morning. So again, I don't know, but there's just things to look at, things to pay attention to, and obviously we'll take some trades based on what the market gives us today. ES, looking at ES, a fairly similar picture. We had a bigger down move yesterday on ES, and we're sitting pretty much in the middle of yesterday's range. The low was right at the CPI low print, was yesterday's low of day. Again, looking for maybe a pullback long off this high area coming in from the 63.74. This is the same. This is this area right here. So the NASDAQ would have to pull back more deeply to get to that level than would ES. But that is something that would potentially set up. We've also held pretty strongly last night in the overnight beneath the 63.90 range, which was a hold level here in the overnight on Wednesday night as well. So we'll see if that can break that. Right now, that's a little bit of a mini head and shoulders, so that could signify further downside. Again, keeping the eyes open. Really want to make sure that I'm careful today in the setups that I take. I definitely don't want to have another red day. Obviously, we can't rule it out. It could happen, but we're going to try to prevent that from happening. And just being smart about the levels and the trades we take is one way to do that. So very similar picture. I would like to see us break out of yesterday. I would love to see us get above the high of day from yesterday, looking for a break and retest long, pushing up to test the highs. Or if we get a move to the downside, break below yesterday's low, then we start to get down into some of this area where it starts to get more free and look for break and retest shorts. And that would really kind of similarly set up on the NASDAQ. We do have a longer way to go to break that low from yesterday on the NASDAQ, but that is definitely something that could happen. So really just keeping the eyes wide open today on the ES and the NASDAQ. Dow Jones tumbled massively yesterday. Big move to the downside, created a pretty big range there. And as you can see, this entire week we've been sitting very much sideways. So I don't feel like I'm interested in, and as you can see, there's no level charted in between yesterday's high and low, except for this 44,430 range, which is something I've been looking at for a very long time. This has been on my charts for quite a while, but I really feel strongly that with this sideways trend that we've been in, I want to see the Dow Jones break below the low of the day yesterday, break below the daily 50. If we do that, then we look for shorts. If we break to the upside, I want us to get above yesterday's high of day and test this 44,800 area. If we do that, that could set up some longs. I would potentially take this area long or short because it has had a fair level of significance if we get a good setup. If I get a good setup short or long, I would potentially take that one. So the trades really I'm looking for in the Dow Jones are below yesterday's low, above yesterday's high, and above or below the 44,430, depending on how it sets up. So that's my plan on the Dow Jones for today. Russell, very similar to the Dow Jones. We really just kind of went in a sideways trend, had a pretty big tumble yesterday, really encapsulate this entire, pretty much the entire week's move, and we're sitting right in the middle. So very similar on the Russell. I really need to be below yesterday's low of day or above yesterday's high of day. That's really what I'm looking for. Anything in between, I'm just not really interested right now. There's just a lot of chop, and I really feel like the best trade would be a short below yesterday's low of day, also below this 2206 area. If we do get that shorting to the downside into some of this area down below, or if we get a move to the upside, obviously a break and retest long, and then we get through the CPI high area up into this 2275. So that's really, honestly, that's really what I'm looking for on the Russell. It's got to be above the high, below the low. Very similar on the Dow Jones, and then on ES, We're looking for some of these areas for possible trades if we're in this channel, but obviously the best ones would still be above the high and lows of days. Same thing applies to the NASDAQ. So that's today. We're going to be careful. It's Friday. Let's not have another red day and try to take good setups. I'm probably going to size down. If I take a trade today, it's going to be maybe only with 2 micros to start, just to try to get a win under the belt. And if it ends up being a very small green day, that's better than a red day. So we will see how this day goes, and hopefully we can wrap up the week on a positive note and at least put a green day on the charts. So thanks again. Appreciate you guys. Have a good trading day, and we'll catch up with you next week. Take care, and so long.